Space has been working in overdrive as they continue to make progress on Starship's first orbital test flight. Yesterday, one of the most significant developments toward this goal was completed with the first almost full booster static fire. In total, Super Heavy features 33 engines, and SpaceX reported that 31 fired for around 5 seconds. This being said, the results were almost perfect, which is a very big deal, especially considering the risks of testing such a powerful rocket. Various footage and drone angles from SpaceX highlight the power and strength of this rocket stage and the Raptor engine. With this test complete, there are only a few final steps necessary before the first launch of Starship. Depending on the detailed results of the static fire, a maiden flight only months away is very possible. Here I'll go more in depth into yesterday's static fire, what this means for the program, what to expect in the coming weeks, and more. Yesterday afternoon, SpaceX for the first time ever attempted a full Super Heavy static fire with Booster 7. SpaceX first tweeted saying, first static fire attempt of 33 Raptor engines on Booster 7. They also clarified in another tweet that the amount of time the engines fired was full duration. Thanks to multiple different camera angles, including a drone shot, you can see exactly how much power these engines produce. From the vertical view, you can see the massive fire plume going in 6 different directions between the legs of the orbital launch pad. From the ground angle, it only takes seconds for the camera and the entire launch site to be covered by smoke and dust. Based on the footage alone, the test seems to have gone very well. For one, the booster did not explode, which is a great sign, and two, it looked as if all the engines began at the same time without any anomalies. Soon after, Elon Musk tweeted clarifying, team turned off one engine just before start and one stopped itself, so 31 engines fired overall, but still enough engines to reach orbit. The Orbital Launch Mount, or OLM, also looks to have survived the test, which is a big deal in itself. This system helped hold Starship down with 20 clamps to counteract any remaining thrust. What's most exciting is the fact that this test, while not 100% confirmed, would mean Super Heavy takes the throne as the most powerful launch vehicle ever fired using the most engines ever fired at once. At full power, Super Heavy's 33 Raptor engines produce about 16.5 million pounds of thrust. Each Raptor 2 engine can generate up to 230 tons or 507,000 pound-force of thrust at sea level. On the other hand, Raptor is designed to throttle as low as 40% or 92 tons, about 200,000 pound-force of thrust. All this being said, it would make the most sense for the company to test as close to full thrust as they are comfortable with as they prep for an orbital test flight. Now that we know more about yesterday's test, we can take a closer look at what the next steps are before the long-awaited orbital test flight. The first big question is whether or not this test satisfied SpaceX's goals and expectations. As we know, 2 of the Raptor engines did not fire due to various reasons. In this case, there are a few different scenarios that could play out. It's possible that despite these 2 engines not firing, SpaceX knows why and is confident that a replacement of the 2 to be safe would do the job going forward. It's also important to point out that the company can afford to lose a few engines during an actual launch and still reach orbit, as Elon highlighted in his tweet. The other option, however, is additional testing in the near future. Only days ago, President of SpaceX, Glenn Shotwell, said, "Tomorrow is a big day for SpaceX. We are going to attempt a 33-engine static fire booster test for Starship. It's really the final ground test that we can do before we light them up and go." She also said, "That first flight test is going to be really exciting. It's going to happen in the next month or so." This was referring to what would happen if the test was fully successful. Overall, it seems that Shotwell tends to take a somewhat of a slow and steady approach relative to SpaceX standards. This favors additional testing to make sure that everything is perfect before the first launch attempt. Focusing back on yesterday's test, the Super Heavy booster was not the only thing that performed very well. The infrastructure at Stage 0 also looks to have held up extremely well, especially when you consider the forces applied to it during the test. In the past, SpaceX would static fire Starship and concrete and various elements would fly all over the place thanks to the power of the Raptor engine. This really highlights the amount of work done by the teams at SpaceX to reinforce and prepare the necessary systems. While it's not perfect quite yet and some of this concrete rain can still be seen, it's a very big improvement considering what it just went up against. This has to do with a new type of concrete that was poured onto the rocket. Called Fondag, it's a pre-blended, high-strength, heat-resistant concrete designed for heavy industrial applications. The mixture is a pure calcium aluminate concrete, which contains both calcium aluminate cement and calcium aluminate aggregates. This helps it withstand much more heat and pressure compared to regular concrete. Going forward, a launch in March is optimistic and about as soon as the company could even try. This has to do with everything I've talked about and more. The water deluge system, for example, is a big topic relating to the first launch. While the system would no doubt help reduce the damage and projectiles during the launch, SpaceX has a few options. Right now, the company is not necessarily aiming for fast reusability in constant launches. They're trying to get Starship into orbit for the first time. If the pad gets damaged after a launch attempt, they would have to fix the concrete and various before the attempt. Going forward, however, will need to be to pad and rocket are in almost perfect condition soon after launch. Heavy upon test flight, you also have to consider the FAA. Currently, switches can flow into the Federal Aviation Administration sources. In this case, they may need SpaceX flexibility for degree to static. Ideally, the initial consent structure with safely launch and succeed runners. Either way, the result of the SpaceX launch or the but it may also deem additional time necessary. As one By late 2021, SpaceX said that scaling rocket production to support the Fruit and Starship test program planned for 2022 was Yesterday, we launched one of the most significant tests yet.
You brought this on yourself.
Shut it off.
Hey, look, it's the gift. Tonight just gets better and better.
Please, just let me go. Take the money. Take the money, man. You don't have to kill me over this. It was him or us! Oh, God. What? No! Okay, this is the basement of a restaurant. Lanello's in Little Italy. Okay, I told you how. I told you. What are you gonna do? I'm coming home for this.